And we're live! Hey everybody. This is Adam with RC Drift Talk Show. That's what we call it, yeah. It is Thursday night at 7 p.m. PST, Pacific Standard Time. We're not late today, which is a good thing. It's a very rare thing. We're not late. So far, no technical difficulties, so that's promising. We will go. Everyone has the right nameplate. And we're gonna go and do some cool stuff. We've got Josh with Ideal Auto RC, Auto Factory RC, right?
Yeah,
Jeez.
Ideal Auto Factory, that's the business name, like a whole legit thing. And then RC Drift is because I can't have business and fun. Yeah.
I mean, they're tied. You can do it.
Okay.
You got it. It's 10 o'clock over there, right?
Yes, it is. And I'll be honest, this is like normal for me to be up, but yeah, I'm always watching y'all, so
Right on.
I'm already wired to be up right now.
No, gotcha. Right on. So you're not, you know the drill. So we're gonna do some interviewing, and then we'll talk about some chassis, and we'll talk about a lot of cool stuff here. We got some questions that are, I wouldn't say, well, they're important. They're important because a lot of them are, well, they span the times, let's say. So we'll go over that. Just to do the normal stuff here, we're going to go over calendar events really quick, and then we'll go over what's to come. Really, just I want to throw out 2 Drift to Death, because now that's literally just over a month away.
Just over a month away.
It's crazy.
Getting excited.
Because it feels like we've been talking about it for like 2 months already, right?
Yeah.
It's been planned for even longer than that.
Yeah.
Let's see who's in chat. Mark's in chat. Genki, Strix, Calvin. Hey Calvin, what's up?
Hector as usual.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Up above.
Mile High.
Yep.
Mark as usual.
That's Mark. All right. So calendar events. Round, not number 3 because we just did that. Round number 2 of IRCDF is July 12th. July 19th is Oregon STC round number 4. August 2nd, round number 3 IRCDF. August 8th through the 10th. 2 Drift to Death.
Woo!
Logan, do you want to give us a little bit of a preview of who's coming up?
Look, there's a lot of people that are coming. Not all of them want me to say anything right now, but there's at least for sure Miko's coming. I know Vince, our other D-Style teammate, is coming. I know of some Sacramento peeps that are coming. I know of some Phoenix people that are coming. So it's going to be a good event. I'm sure some of the boys from Canada will be down. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of people there, but it's going to be a fun time.
Yep.
Last year we had a freaking blast, so there's no way this won't be at least that much fun.
Let's make it big. Let's make it to the point where Judd has to get a bigger place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
That'll be good.
I mean, we have we'll have some room for everybody, and we might be a little packed, but it's going to be a good time.
I mean, there's always the road that you can hang out in.
Yeah, hang out in the street. Bring your D-likes. There's parking lot shenanigans to be had.
Bring a light jacket, because if it's raining, you don't know what's gonna happen.
Yeah, bring something so you can be outside in the rain. Be ideal.
Remember, this is Oregon.
It is Oregon. Can rain at any point in time.
Let's see. Moving on. Oregon RCDC Oregon SDC. Oregon RCDC
Hector's
would
going.
be cool.
Hector's going.
Ooh, Hector. To round 5, August 23rd. Oregon Finals is round 6, September 6th. IRCDF round 4, September 13th. And SDC Worlds, October 3rd through the 5th. Do you guys already have your stuff planned?
Not really. No.
Josh, you going?
So I do plan to go. The trick is I have all these family things that always take over. So I'm like, all right, what is registration has popped out this week? That's when they
Yeah.
came out.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, all right. Because then there's also another event I'm trying to go to, but I just got to talk to my wife. It's always talking to my wife because that's actually traveling, and I'm like a quarterly at the track guy.
Mhm.
But Worlds is like, it's been on the list, and now that it's drifted, becoming more and more the thing for me as a big, like, yes, need to go. So we're going to plan it and make it more than drift. Like, I'm with my wife. She's my first, person, not drifting hobby. Like, that's second. So, gotta make it like a day thing, make it part of her too. So.
Well, I mean, you can do what Jake does, right? So, like, you do the drift thing, you go compete, you show up, right? And then pretty much the week after that, you're either on a cruise or you're at Disneyland or something like that. I mean, you are right there, right? Like, the port isn't too far away. Disneyland is literally right there. All that fun stuff.
I should do that. Yep. Instead of making it like dual timing, actually have the week for me and the week for us, like a separate week. I'm always trying to cram things in.
No, no. Because like being there in the midst of things is the fun part. Like, even though that it's like super busy, even though that I don't show up until like what, Saturday, Sunday. At least that's what it's been like for the past 2 years. It's been fun. I can do that because I'm not competing. So
Even if you're participating in the comp, the amount of time that you're driving is such a small part of your time down there, right? Like, even with practice, most of the time you're not driving.
Yep. Let's just
hanging
say that
chatting with everybody.
The number of pictures that I take during that weekend far exceed any other event. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, I meant to say that your videos, like, I mean, I'm clearly on the other side of the U.S., but like being and having like this immersive experience, because I haven't been to Worlds yet.
Mhm.
Like your videos, I think you did interviews with people. Some people I've never heard of. Other people, they're more active on the socials. So like I was watching those videos, like, oh man, that's a lot of people there. Wait, hold up, I actually got to see somebody's car. Like I'm like, oh yeah, great. You're not just oh, his Worlds, it's gone. I missed it. I couldn't stay up that long for the whole live, kind of thing. So I'm really glad you recorded those interviews and got people to be on the other side of the camera.
For sure. The funny thing is that honestly, I kind of don't care who I interview as long as you're comfortable on camera. I will come up to you and be like, hey, you want to do something? And you are free to say yes or no. This year, I really do want to put together like a kind of like a YouTube Shorts type of thing. So I know I tried it last year and it kept on getting longer and longer every single time, or every person that I did it with. So it's literally going to be like, what car or where you're from, or who you are, where you're from, what car you're driving, and probably one fun question. And that'll be it. So, and then those will probably go all on YouTube Shorts and stuff like that. Yeah.
The key part to that is like, that's forever, So like, I remember watching one of the videos and I'm like, oh man, all the, MC1s at one point, or all the whatever chassis, you name it, was hype at whatever time. We got it. Okay. But then you look back and you're like, not a lot has changed in that aspect. Or you think about a driver who may have been like timid or something, or you didn't hear about them, and boom, they're like TQ for like the whole next year. So you're like, oh man, look at this video that doesn't have as many views or something, but they're like logged now. Like that's really cool when you start looking back at videos. So having a document, having that video, I mean, come on, I'm a guy over here with no track, and like there's just not a lot that happens outside of my garage. So having videos to look back on is huge for me. So I'm glad y'all do that. And it's also just cool when you do more than just like, here's the car, here's the person, buy it, you know?
Wait, that's exactly what I'm going to be doing.
Yeah, he's telling you not to do that. He's telling you to do the same videos that you did before.
It's like, dang it! No, I'll grab some somewhat long form videos too, so it should be good. Hopefully I'm not running around like with my head chopped off like usual. I'll tell you what though, statistics are always interesting to look at.
Yeah. You're always like every event we do, if you're there, you usually try to make sure to note down all the chassis that are being driven and stuff like that.
Yeah, so you were saying just now like how like it was MC1 world at one point in time, right? And then we saw the Shark evolution came through. And then like of course YD2s were a thing, right? Well, so our last round 3, this is hilarious, okay? So as expected, there were plenty of RDXs in show. There was so we had a total of 17 entries. 5 of them were RDXs. There is 1 MC1, 2 Sharks, 1 Merlin, so a Zada Merlin. There's 2 SD 3.0s, 1 RMX. The other 29.4%. Guess what that was?
I already know, even though I wasn't there, so I'm not going to answer.
RD2.
No.
What? Okay.
Bunch of bandwagoners.
Yeah, think about bandwagon.
Oh, the GOM.
Nope. No.
Close.
Yeah,
close.
GRKs.
GRK.
Oh, GRK. I forgot about it.
There is 5 GRKs there.
This year. Like it's this year. That's why I forgot.
So between that and the RDX, those are split as far as big show. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Adriano, get Steve or Joey to do an interview, dude. Every single time that I try to ask them,
not possible.
Yeah, like I think I got Joey to answer a few questions last year.
Yeah,
but
they're like there's always been talk of having them on, or I think during Worlds taking any time away from those guys is not a good idea because they're so busy the whole time. But we definitely love to have them on the show sometime. But they're busy all the time, so yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, that's if we can get them. What I was told is that, hey, you can interview anyone in the shop here. That's fine.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Okay. So let's switch gears here. Let's get into interview.
They're busy
mode.
on Tuesday, man.
Get there on Tuesday, man. That'd be a stretch. That'd be a stretch.
I mean, we were there on Tuesday last year.
You were there on Tuesday.
Busy. I wasn't really seeing them that much.
Anyway, okay. Switching gears, doing the interview thing. So, Josh, tell us a little bit about yourself. Where you're from, what you do, and then we'll go from there.
All right, cool. Well, my wife just joined the chat. That's her. Tajan, that's how you pronounce her name, Tajan L. But she goes by Tay. So I just said, "Hey, babe," to my wife. But I am Joshua. A little bit about me. Obviously, I'm wearing a shirt with a kind of a stick shift grid pattern there, and it says it's God first. It's a little reminder for myself at all times. I originally never ever wanted to drive an automatic transmission a day in my life. Need for Speed Underground 2, and now we got video games coming out without a freaking option to even change your gearbox to a manual, but that's another story. But I am active duty soldier, so I'm in the military. I've got almost 10 years in that. Some may say I am also like a jack of all trades, but outside of that, I do vinyl wrap actual cars. It started off a huge wave. My first year was COVID doing that, 2020. And then from there, just you could say it all fell into my lap as a trade, but I kind of took it and I kind of just tunnel vision with it. Got a little lost in that. And then money aside, I started to realize like, oh my gosh, I love cars a whole lot and it could take me away from a lot of stuff that's way more important. So with all of that, here I am. Oh, no problem, Jenky. It's I appreciate having the ability to serve the country in the way that I do. But with my family, I kind of lost a little bit of that. I was always in my garage. I was always working. I was always I come home from work. What's up, y'all? Into the garage working. And long story short, just a little bit of me got too lost into cars and everything like that. So being married, I have 3 kids, and when I had 1 kid, I didn't spend a lot of time. So now I said to myself, let me get a drift car and let's bond over that. And that's, of course, I'm like totally oblivious to the fact that a 4-year-old is not going to just take off and just enjoy drifting like immediately. Like, who's going to do that? So it turned into my car. And that was an MST RRX 2.0 in 2021. And from there, drifting basically turned into the way to not spend so much money on real cars.
But wait.
Here I am so many years later, spent way more money than some would mention. But yeah, I'm like I said, jack of all trades, as some would say. I play the piano. I'm always like just trying to find something to do with my hands, and then I don't have a actual like college degree, but my whole life has literally been just researching and finding the like out of box kind of. I've been just so into the deep end of the rabbit hole of a lot of stuff, and it's kind of been a way that I have never really mastered a lot of stuff, but I have a little bit of an edge on things. But big shout out to my wife for giving me the time to do this and always showing me support in this, because it is just a hobby. At the end of the day, it doesn't pay the bills.
This has to be the first time we've had a wife in chat during the show, so big props there. That's pretty sick. I'm kind of jealous. I don't think Sarah's ever even watched the podcast.
Hey, to be honest, she's the secret weapon here. I'm not trying to like get brownie points. I'm like straight up. She is the social media guru. Okay, I'm not bragging. Okay, I'm just being honest. I have a few reels on Instagram with over 1 million views, and she's the one that was like, "Hey, you should go do this. You should do that. You should do this." She's got TikTok. She goes live every morning. She's got Instagram. She's got YouTube, and it's all like in a broader spectrum. Here I am. I'm right there in RC Drift, this small niche. And then the thing she's telling me to do, I just like take off with it. And so she uses me as like a prime example to like prove that she knows what she's talking about all the time. But
you're the guinea pig.
Yes. Yeah.
Right on. That's so awesome to hear. So again, random factoid, with your wife watching, that's probably like less than 0.5% of the overall views of my viewership on this channel.
Facts. I agree.
Okay. So that's a good introduction. And you started off with a MST RRX. Was it the VIP version or just the I think there was only a VIP version, right?
I don't know. I was just like, oh, that's cool. A motor's in the rear. I don't even think that's possible in 1-to-1. You know, like the way it was set up. So I'm like, this is cool. But it was just a stock. It was a stock thing. Okay, like I built it. Sort of had my son doing a little twisty with the Allen wrenches because I didn't have tools. Thank God, first of all, that kit came with tools, because I would have been done right there. But yeah, the bevel gear differential, all the problems that I didn't know about, you know, and I just built it. I can't tell you what the ESC and motor was when I first got it. I didn't even know about the Facebook groups and stuff.
Mm.
But yeah, it should have been a basic 2.0 because it was plastic.
Yeah, they They made the rear motor MSTs as a kit form, I believe. 'Cause I think that's what a couple of our guys had.
Yeah.
One day.
Man,
So
it's hilarious because it's like the VIP editions just like are no more. They sure there's the KMW stuff, but yeah, it'll be interesting if they ever bring VIP back.
yeah, what's the difference? Somebody tell me.
It's all like just upgraded from the get go. So all carbon, all aluminum. There's still a lot of plastic on it too, but like it's kind of like almost GRK5 ish, where you're just buying into the full entire chassis right from the get go.
Gotcha. So that is KMW.
No, I mean, yeah, KMW is technically VIP, but different moniker, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, how long have you been doing YouTube? Like, within the drifting, right?
Yeah. So YouTube has been, at one point it was an outlet. It was oh snap, like I should put this on video. Another point, it was the trend, like just go record yourself having fun times with your friends. And a lot of times my friends were car guys, so I had hopes to make all these videos of us just working on cars. But I've been doing YouTube at least 8 years. But not drifting. So drifting came around maybe 2 years ago, 2.5, 3 years ago, somewhere around there. And I have to bring up Roadside RC because seeing his channel before I started drifting, like when I say drifting, I'm talking about we had a carpet track. That's why I put my quotation.
No,
it was a carpet track, buggy track. It was all the tracks in one. And the owner was just like, nah, I can't have a dedicated drift track after a while. So that's all we had. And, I'm walking into the place, like staying till the last minute. And then I know, so oh snap, is that what? I could have sworn I watched this guy. So Roadside RC and I occupy the same tracks,
Okay.
And then after a while, I wouldn't say other people got tired of drifting, but I would say I literally just had a passion for it. So I would try to keep up with him. And there's another guy named Chris who doesn't have an account, but he's the person that let me drive this full Futaba Accuban setup, and that's what really got me hooked, right? But the Roadside RC thing, seeing him with 10,000 subscribers at the time, and I'm like, this dude's going around with a broom recording. I'm like, I need to do that. I'm already in it. So that's what made me say, okay, let's do some drift videos. And I said to myself, well, I'm not going to be doing these engineering style stuff. And then that quickly changed.
Yeah, I'm like, what? You are talking about all kinds of tuning stuff in your videos lately.
Yeah. It's getting out of hand. I promised myself I wouldn't go down rabbit holes as deep as I did when I have a certain video that's got 10,000 views plus with the gyro thing, and that was a whole full circle moment for me. But to the outside looking in, you could say like, oh my gosh, what does this dude? This dude doesn't know anything. And I'm like literally on a journey within my head because nobody said to me anything about these gyros.
Right.
And I didn't know. So yeah, like Roadside RC, very to the like, hey, we're going down this path. This is how you get good. I'm around that guy. Then here on another side of the spectrum, Chris, he's got the top tier car, Adam LZ livery on or livery on a BMW E92, slammed to the ground. Like you literally cannot see any gaps. And I'm like, yo, that's wild. And it's the total opposite of Roadside setup, which is like, stop doing all this extra camber. You don't need all of that. Chris is like, fit me, like, whoop, car doing all the turbo and boost. So I got these two different worlds to me. And I'm right there in the middle trying to figure it out while trying to hang around a sweeper for the first time. So this is all year one. And long story short, as the track was getting shut down, we started to try to come together as a community of drifters and do crowd judged competitions. And so I have a few of those early on, like on the channel, and I would come in third or second, and it would be Chris and Troy from Roadside RC, and that kind of solidified, like, okay, I can drive at least a little bit. Not much other people wanted to drift. And then from there, as everything got shut down, I had to figure out how to, know what everybody else is talking about all over socials. Like, Adam, your video on just recently getting Futaba, like, I watched your whole video on setting up the 7PX to the R334 SBS, and I'm like, what is all of this? I cannot move until I finish this video. I don't know what the heck is going on. Meanwhile, y'all are just like got tracks and got people all the time with it, So
yeah, I mean, I think still a lot of us saw. I mean, I definitely saw Adam's video before I ever met Adam, and I think Adam and Mitch have like the most famous.
No, Mitch is far superior to mine. Mine is there, but Mitch is, man. I did like riding that little horse for a bit, and then when he released his, it was just all.
But overall, like that level of like wanting to thrive and just enjoy the hobby. I mean, come on, like when you got enough money to spend on whatever chassis you want or buy whatever electronics, I'm sitting there looking at stuff like nobody's talking about this or nobody's talking about that. So how am I supposed to make the best decision here? Yeah. And then you got all this stuff that don't matter, and it's like, that's fun.
That's something we kind of take for granted, because often our advice that we'll give like to chatters and stuff is like, just go to your track and see what those guys are up to. But that's not always a solution.
Yeah. I mean, Wayne Johnson just said it. Some of us are on our own, like you, Josh.
We all are out there on Drift Island.
Yeah, Drift Island. And with Troy and Chris goes way back. There's videos I watched. There's drift games, sticks and all the limbo and drift, all those things. 5 years before I got into the hobby, I went to a Slammed Enough event with a 4-wheel drive Traxxas. Come to find out, now I'm driving good enough, and I'm seeing these same people from ages ago, and they're like, "Yo, what's up, man?" And I'm like, "Wait, you're the guy from the video that I," and it's like, oh, okay. So all this stuff comes together, and then you realize, like, man, these people have been in the hobby like 4, 5, 6 years before you got in, and then now, now there's all this stuff that I want to ask, but there's no way to. You good, Mom? That's my mom. She's here with.
She said, "Who left the lights on?"
Yeah, she. No, don't turn the light back off.
Dude, so okay. Going back to it, if you watch the Futaba video, the Futaba Akivance video, there's a point like in the midsection where like someone in the other room is like, there's a spider or something like that. So like there's a nice little jump scare or whatever. But yeah, that video was very raw. It was in John's garage, and just like completely basic.
Yeah, but I will say, every time I see a video like that, I'm like, oh, these are going to be the best ones. When you're like sitting there and there's a car in the middle and literally like all the white space around, I'm like, they're going to talk about something very important. And I just sit there and I'm watching the whole thing before I even move.
Yeah, but now you're that guy.
Yeah, I guess I can accept a little bit of that. It's hard though, and I'll be honest, it's hard because when I go to tracks and I want to tandem a lot and I want to drive a lot,
you get bombarded.
yeah, I end up getting on the other train, which is like, I'm telling somebody like, yeah, bro, you could just drive it. Like you don't have to change 20 different things right now. Just what's one thing is doing wrong, and then you realize like, oh, they don't even like respect EPA just yet. Like, and so now I'm like, I want to help, and I'm like, nah.
That's tricky part too. Is you kind of make an agreement with yourself of like, I need to relax. Like, I need to figure out a way to not spend a lot of my time at the track tuning other people's cars. But then, yeah, you can't help it sometimes when there's just like one car, guy walks in with one car and you want him to stay in the hobby. And it's like, oh man, there's so much wrong with this. But,
Yeah,
I can't
like-
tell you how many times I've seen YD2s with their front arms built upside down.
yeah,
It's
all
such.
of it.
Ugh.
Like I try to limit myself to like, here's one thing you can try at a time. Because also like it can be overwhelming, I think, for people if you like spit a bunch of like tips and tricks at them because they're not gonna remember any of it anyways. So, but then sometimes you just can't resist because the car is so poorly set up or something, or their electronics are all wrong, whatever it may be.
yeah. What was it? Like you see certain people's cars or certain people's setups, and then your first instinct when they pop the body off is like, oh well, your wiring isn't that great, or something like that. So you're in your mind, you're like, well, that means this and this and this and this. You don't care about half of that, which means, okay, you probably got, toe out on the right arm, like 1.5 degrees, and then the other one's like 2.5. And it's like, all right, okay, we'll just whatever. It doesn't matter.
Well, so check this out. This guy named Jesse, he basically came to the track with like some YD2, right? Just whatever, right? But the thing is that he didn't have a standard battery. He came with like a Ryobi or a DeWalt battery, like, adapted to like whatever connector, and he was plugging those in to like power his RC car. It worked. It was fine for a bit.
It worked? Oh, okay. I was not expecting it to work.
I mean, he was there. He was in it. He was still new, right? So he was trying all sorts of things. Yeah. So
That's crazy.
all sorts, man. All sorts. It's hilarious.
Some Calvin said he's seen crawler guys do that, but on a drifter, like, first of all, I didn't even know it was a thing to even do. Like that's the first lipo or no. Like that's my mindset. I never even. That's also another part of it. Like I don't dabble in other what's it called? Other areas of RC anymore. I tried crawling. I have nothing against it. There's still a Jeep in the garage for my son. I tried bashing Armor Limitless, what's the other one? Creighton. I had that for a couple of years, but when you drive it and it breaks, it's like, all right. And then you try to do a backflip, realize you're not that guy. And so that ends quickly. So I guess that's the other big factor, and I guess why I can say I dive in so deep on this stuff is this is all I ever look at. RC drifting. There is no other aspect to me and RC.
Hey,
DJ.
Yep, you're being hailed,
Whip out
DJ.
the fingerboard, buddy. Joey wants to see a kickflip.
Oh, it's not even on hand anymore. Jeez.
Oh man,
DJ, what
where
are
it
you?
is? What is he doing? We've lost DJ.
I cleaned up my desk a little bit,
Oh,
so I don't
no.
know where it went. But I have one on
no.
standby.
ooh,
Okay.
It's in the pit bag.
Okay, first try. First
Making
try.
excuses now.
Ah, shit. Yeah, I know. I know. My shit's a mess. Excuse me.
So, my basher right now is my DC-10 hanging on the wall that doesn't have any electronics in it. That's just my basher.
Hey Joey, sorry I missed you, by the way. I was pretty bummed out about that, but I wasn't going to be able to make it in time.
All right.
Okay, first try.
Not at all.
Pressure's
This is
on.
not
Pressure's on.
happening.
First try. First try.
Kinda.
What We'll count it. It's
I
sketchy.
got a little more than a kickflip, but
sketchy redo.
All right. I mean, like this actually kind of goes into one of the questions that I asked you. Do you have anything that you want to bring into the conversation? So, chat, this is for you as well. Put your thoughts in. Does RC drifting have longevity as a hobby? From building kits to driving to judging, helping rookies to pros, and maybe track ownership. What is there to look forward to in RC drifting compared to other lanes of motorsport? So there's a lot to unpack there. And I guess let's start it off with just the longevity of the hobby, right? It's lifelong, right? It is however much that you want to put into it. And like as simple as that sounds, I'm always learning 100% of the time, every day. And if it's like, for me, if it's like, oh geez, Logan's killing it in corners, I need to figure out what he's doing, or I need to drive a different style to be able to like keep up or like maintain those corners, right? So it's always 100% learning all the time. And if
styles and trends change, there's always new cars to drive,
different wheels, different tires.
Yeah.
Right now, if anything, I actually think that we're kind of in a slum as far as chassis design, but it's not like there's very much that we can do to make something like drastically a different game, you know?
Yeah, I mean that's everybody feels that way about everything, and then something crazy comes out. So I think there will still be innovation in RC drift kind of forever, but
and right now it's in the electronics.
Yeah,
like we're jumping in electronics right now.
Yeah, one, like you said, it's lifelong. I really asked that question because of what people say, like, oh, you see it all the time, getting out of the hobby and then, not going to separate my kit and all this stuff, and I'm going to sell it all as one. Or you got the person, on the opposite end who's like, all right, I'm just going to put all the stuff to the side and come back in a couple of years. I think there was one year, and that was probably when I was still kind of brand new. I think it was like Jason Fordyce's year in Super Drift, and before Worlds was, the title. And it was like the whole year they were saying, yeah, he was just grabbed the remote after 4 years of not being in the hobby. And that's why I really ask, because when people say getting out of the hobby, I'm just like, man, it's an RC. I'm pretty sure it's still good. Like, you just put it up there and then come back to it once this season of life is over,
Yeah, but it's not. It's not. Like, because honestly, that's what happened to me, right? So, like, way back when, like 2014 to 2016, right? YD2 Plus, YD2 was originally released, and I picked one of those up. Had an MST FXX and an RMX, and did all of that stuff, right? Then my scene died, right? Local track died, and I didn't have anywhere to go, right? And then, like, Lance and Alex come into the picture, start the whole scene up with, like, Jake and them in Albany, and that's like 2 years down the pipeline. My cars have just been sitting. Well, when I come back, there's like YD2 SX2, SX3 that are out now. There's YD2 EX. There's like 10 other versions of YD2 that are available. Yusakani.
I mean,
like,
your car that you had though is still perfectly capable.
But the learning never happened though, right? So that's the difference. So think of a chassis that had absolutely no like crap out of box like setup, right? Think of now, you can buy a SD 3.0 and be ripping on the track like within a few weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is true. The manuals and their tunes have come a long way. Oh my gosh.
Just what you do.
Yeah, and so I think what I kind of saw is like I never really bankrupted myself for RC drift, so it was always in my head like, man, this is lifelong to me, not in the sense of I'm going to always be at every competition. Clearly not, but you're not gonna kick me out of this house and this garage, and then I'm just gonna not have an RC. I'm gonna find a way to continue to drift, get a cheap set of tires or whatever, and keep it going. But it is also in the back of my head all the time, like, man, do I continue buying, newest chassis out versus sticking with the, the same old. And at this point, 2025, after going through the what I call my top performance, like chassis pursuit, I've kind of realized, like, man, I'm a builder, and you can hand me anything in a sense, and I'll find a way to make it mine. So therefore, it's forever for me. Like, it takes, how long does it take to do an engine swap if you're not a like mechanically inclined? Forever. You're going to be on jack stands forever in a real car, but in a drift car, a week, you change the whole design, or you broke something, now you go buy something else. Like, there's always something to me to be doing, and then go to a track without anything and sit there and watch people. I've invited people who have no idea what drifting is, and they're like smiling as we just drift. And so I'm like, okay, there's still spectators, there's still people who have time, to just watch. So it's always, to me, it's always something in the hobby.
I think it really just depends on the person. I've been interested in drift for a really long time. I don't see that ever going away. But I think definitely the methods I use to like get my drift fix have definitely changed a lot over the years, like going from like Forza to other games and sim rig, or trying to do it in real life, or now like doing RC stuff. So I think that, I don't know what that comes from, but I tend to have like a little bit of a hobby ADD where I can get into something, and often I'll like get into something really hard at first, and then after a little while, like it starts to, I lose interest. But I've been doing this for a lot longer now. Like, it's the longest like consistent thing that I've done for a while.
I think it's the people.
Yeah,
like
that
honestly,
definitely
it's
is
the
a huge
people.
part of it. That definitely is like, that's one of the biggest reasons why I'm still interested in it. Right, it's because I made all the friends, and I don't want to. That's how I hang out with them. So
yeah, slide theory in the chat right now. He says RC drift is a passion. We build up home tracks and pop-up drift events to catch doors with the homies. So he's currently like Street Break is where he's at, but he used to be in Tennessee, and we used to get doors all the time, but there was never a main spot that we would drift. I remember drifting in the cold of November or something at a pavilion with a gazebo, and we're all just going at it, going crazy. And our electronics was like, what's going on? Because it was super cold, like it wouldn't even get up to temp. But then from there, there's Cars and Coffee, and they would let us use a little spot over there. And then he moves, and then like a couple other guys in our main group chat, they slow down in the hobby to handle other things. So the pop-ups slow down, but like there's never a moment where we're not trying to do drift events. There's never a moment where the group of people that I'm with, aren't trying to do something. I have a friend like 10 miles away from me. I mean, we can find somebody's garage to drift in. That's how like strong it is in the group. So you're right, Logan. It is a group of people. Because I don't think I would be out of the hobby, but I think I would be less focused on getting to tracks if I wasn't in these groups. Because there's a couple of people who've been in for 15 years, and they still have their car. They're still really passionate, and they can only drift on one day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's like our experience knowing Adam and stuff, is we know like a lot of people, depending on where you are, you might have a year or two where there is no track or whatever, whatever happens. tracks open and shut down all the time, right? Like say if you were in Atlanta, it's a similar situation right now, right?
Yep.
So there's always that 3 to 4 4 or 5 people that when a track closes or there just isn't a track, there's those people that are still gonna figure out every way they can to have a drift day somewhere, be that in a rented space or a pavilion or whatever it may be.
Car shows.
People keep it alive. It's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I still think it's funny that we don't have any car shows scheduled this year right now.
I think car show scene is dying in general, which to me
We
is
already
a
knew
good
that.
thing. Yeah.
But yeah,
I grew up going, pretty heavy on the car show scene, and then nowadays, like, I despise them so much. I go because there's a drift track there, you know what I mean?
Yep.
But like, that's not my thing at all.
So that's funny. Was it Import Alliance? No, it wasn't Import Alliance. What's it? World of Wheels in Indiana, I want to say. Very far away from me, but because it was a major event and it was guaranteed to be a bunch of people to drift with 3 years ago or 2 years ago, I was like, I'm going. Took the whole family, did all the stuff. I walked straight past every car in existence. You could have shown me a triple blown like C7 LT. Well, it didn't matter.
Yeah.
The car, I went straight to the drift track, pulled out my, pit bag, and I was like ready to go. And at the time, I still had my what I call the flagship Ideal Auto factory vehicle. I had an Iron Giant on the side of my actual D35 sedan, 6-speed. It was just, the car had all the stuff done to it to basically show that I can work on cars, and I would leave my business cards on it and people would pick it up, vinyl wrap, turn over to Lee's and people email me, right?
Yeah.
And even with that, like putting my car on display at certain events and then like walking around and you're right. The car show scene just seems to be like, to me, it's now mystical. Like, what are we doing? Like,
exactly. Like, whenever I tell people about like what's gonna go down at a car show if they've never been, like, so take Hot Import Nights, great example, right? So you show up at like 2, right? We set up a track. They start the show at like 5 or 7, something like that, right? You're not out of the show until like 11, right? So entire day there. What I explain to people is that like you'll get to a point where it's you've gone to the show, you've seen all of the cars, and now there's still like a few hours left to go, and like you don't want to do anything, you're hungry, you don't really want to buy food, but you need to, so you shell out the money for like the car show food, right?
Yeah.
And then it's just like you're there, right? So without a drift track there, like you're not doing anything except for like hanging out with the guys. And don't get me wrong, like that is a thing, right? Like just going to the show, hanging out with the bros, that's the whole vibe of the car scene, right? That's what it's supposed to be.
Like for me, it's 1, I've been there and done that. 2, like there's very few builders these days that I'm like interested in going and looking at their car. Because I've seen it all. I've seen so much, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, okay, you got a huge turbo horsepower, whatever. It's fine. Good job. That's cool. I'm into it. Like, that's cool, but I don't need to look at it or anything. But then, but if there's a drift track, I'm all for it. It's a good time. You know what I mean? Like that's cool. I love driving in those halls. It's nice. It's a nice surface. We usually get a big track, and it's fun.
Not to mention that we're usually like the show spectacle after everyone has gone and seen the cars, or we're the first thing that they go
That's
stop
the thing
by.
too, is the reality is you could walk around, you could walk the whole floor. For most of our shows out here, you could walk the whole floor in about 30 minutes and you've seen all the cars, and it's like, now what?
Yeah.
You even see the people showing the cars, they look bored as hell because they're sitting there against the wall in their chairs for 4 hours.
Oh man. Yeah.
So let's bump this over to the next part. what is there to look forward to in RC drifting compared to other lanes of motorsport? Honestly, right now, the world is the oyster. Like you can do anything. People are traveling. Like we have, like RCO just went to RCD. Well, the whole RCO camp over there in Japan, right? And like I'll refer to it again. We had Malaysia, we had Dubai, we had Singapore, UK, USA, Japan, all in the same room, just talking on a stream one night. So like the ability to go and travel and do things around the world with this hobby is a real thing, is a real avenue that you can take.
Yeah.
If you have the right sponsors, it's even better. Even qualifying for RCDC, right? That's not the hardest thing in the book, but you still have to qualify, just like anything else, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Well, competitively, if you're into that, there's obviously certain goals, right? Like you can, try to win your region, try to win a comp, try to win your region, and then go try to win one of the final rounds, either series that we have here. And then, yeah, you can step that up too. You can go, your TDC or your RCDC, something like that. Or, you could go to UK. But yeah, the traveling part of it too, that's like, you're never going to run out of tracks to travel to unless you're like crazy rich and don't have to work or something. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
then you can probably afford real drift cars anyways. So
yeah, I was gonna say that's like if you technically could Formula D or like follow whatever the real scene is doing, that would be like crazy awesome. You just be the guy to like set up a drift track at every
that would be cool. There was a I don't know if it goes to all of them. I would guess not, but when we went, well, it must. I bet it does. When we went to Seattle, there was like a truck that had a little mini drift track in RTR cars.
They set up every event.
So they're at every event. A little tiny, but you have to wait in line. You only get on the track for like 2 minutes or something.
Dude, did you see the HPI 164th like Mustang RTR?
No.
It's hilarious. Like I kind of want to get one.
It's smaller than this motor right here, right? It's like it's insanely small, like crazy. See, and that's another thing. I don't get into the I'm all 110. I have no smaller scales, but like that thing, I don't know how to describe it. That marketing was wild. They put a real, the regular size and then the other one.
Yeah, the 24th and then the 10th scale. It's all there.
How do you trust that you're making it go sideways? It has to be doing it itself, right?
Oh. Who knows? All I know is that, like, as far as 1/24th scale, to me, every single time that I've added it to a cart, it's always been like, nope. And trust me, like, I'm all for, like, I'd want a drift art, right? I'd want to go down that route, but I just don't want to put that much money into a thing, especially the thing that can go just as fast as a 10th scale car on a big track, right?
Yeah, that's kind of silly.
It's hilarious.
Well, I don't know. It is and it isn't, right? Because imagine if we all, I don't know what it is about, like, our brains are like just super basic primal, like, oh, bigger, better. You know what I mean? Because if we all drove the smaller scale cars, especially places that have small tracks, like, you can get a lot more out of the track size if you have that small car, and they go just as fast. We've all seen it.
But even with M chassis scale, right? Like going down to that 225 wheelbase, that's a huge jump in itself.
Yeah. But like, if we had the track we have now and we all drove 124 scale cars, it would feel way bigger than it is, right?
Well,
and
right.
There's more layouts we'd be able to do and all of this stuff. Like, it'd be better. But I don't know. I don't want to do that.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to do it either. I got my tool set. I don't need to
but you need to have another, like the hotel setup, man.
I drift all the time. Oh, you do, huh? You got work? Yeah, on top of the table? Yeah.
everywhere. um, let's see. So yeah, I mean, like, where are you at, Josh? Like with this whole thing of in your RC career of like just being in it, getting started, doing these videos, and honestly starting to travel. Like, where are you wanting to go with this?
Yeah, for me, I definitely want to have a sense of like you can trust me that what I'm saying can help, and not like I am the expert. Like, listen to everything, because if you don't, then it's going to be. I don't want to be anything more than a helpful hand in the community because of little things that I felt as a beginner with like I didn't know why a diff was important or why you put the diff oil in. You can't like I just didn't know. I didn't know one wheel would spin this way and the other spin that way. Like I wasn't that deep into everything, you know?
That's kind of something that I've noticed with your content in particular. And I've always perceived it this way, but I kind of when I watch your videos, I can see you like, at least from my perspective, it always feels like you're coming from a place of curiosity and like, you know, just thinking about things kind of as you make the video basically. And I never feel like you're speaking as if you're some magical like know all authority on something, but I see you catch a lot of flack sometimes for that. I'm like, that's not what he's trying to say. He's not trying to say everybody needs to do what I'm saying here or this is all fact. It's like I can see you just kind of exploring all of these concepts and ideas.
So I appreciate you saying that because that opens the door for something I forget to say, but like I remember going. Shout out to RC Drift Network. First of all, they're based out of Texas, and because of the Army, I had a month long. It was a month long stay in San Antonio, and so I was able to go to RCHQ.
Oh, nice.
And it wasn't drift away at that time, but it was a different track, and so drifting there all like that whole month, I slowly started listening, like, and then finally like starting to like share a little bit of knowledge that I had, but ultimately, what ended up happening was I like solidified a lot of some of those curious thoughts because I was at a track all the time, right?
Yep.
And you know, you see a guy who's like, man, I can't keep up with you. And then I asked both of them, what's y'all's FDR? Or, you know, something like that. And they don't know. And I'm like, well, who's got the bigger opinion? Or like, okay, you changed yours because it was a tandem comp / thing that was going to go on. And so they both went to the same gearing, and then it was easier for them to keep up with each other, right? And do the tandem. But when I'm making videos, I'm literally blocking my own like mindset and saying, don't think about it, just put something out there. And I feel like that's what everybody can do, right? It like, you don't have to sound right. I mean, yes, there's a certain point where you're like, okay, this is educational, this is informative, so don't stray people the wrong way.
Yeah.
And I know some of my videos could do that, but I'm on this like no fear about it. Like,
yeah,
okay, I don't care how ugly that look. I might be able to clean it up a little later, but ugly is going out on the internet right now.
Well, I wish more people could always come at any content they see, not from a perspective like a lot of people take. If you make a video about something and put it up on the internet, a lot of people take that as you kind of proclaiming that you are the authority on that. When it's really often it's just like,
you're a guy.
This is
you're
my
a dude.
experience. This is what I found. This is how I think about this. This is how I perceive this effect, right? And that's all I'm sharing. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm just sharing my experience. I'm not telling anyone what they have to do. I wish more people could view it that way.
Yeah. A strong part of what I'm doing now is I'm trying not to push so much content out about what's in my head. I'm trying to wait till I get to a track and drift a little more and like get that time in to solidify all the other things that I've been saying. And, you know, like clearly I mean, in January, things just went wild on one car that I built, and I literally built this thing from a place of like, does an RDX front end bolt straight up to a YD to bolt pattern? And it doesn't, but it does. And then I was like, oh snap. And so from there, like all this stuff started happening. And then by the time I was done, it was a full-on weight shift build. And then I said to myself, bro, I just watched a whole lot of videos in another language to figure this thing out. Let me put something out there in English language with sort of the same kind of concept.
Yep.
This car went viral on Instagram, and then I was like, well, I know how to build another one. Let me let it go legally in the best way I know how without getting my brain fried by trying to logistically handle all of this. So basically I raffled off a car, and here we are back with, you know, me basically trying to do the same thing again, but in a little different. But with all of that, it feels like, okay, this time I should go to a track. I should drift it in tandem next to somebody who can actually drive just as good, or in other words, way better than me in a sense, and see if the two cars keep up. And I haven't been able to do that, but there's an event coming up that I have on my calendar over in Cookeville, Tennessee at Cookeville Raceway and Hobbies. That's the drift track there. And I'll be able to drift that car, and then also just have some other stuff that happens, and I get to solidify some things in my mind and then share a whole lot more content. But yeah, my goal is to legit get to more tracks. And again, having 3 kids now, like financially, cars aren't the most important. There's a lot more things involved here. So planning those things, and it may not, I'll make one big travel move, and that could be Worlds, and then we'll go from there. But I've accepted that I am not going to be the guy that's literally at every track and like making all the right content to go and be super informative in all these different ways. I appreciate being a garage drifter, and then coming out and then being like, well, my car drives fine. Like, yeah, I'm good and I can enjoy wherever I'm at. And I have to just prepare before I go. Like, okay, what tires are they running? All right, this car is on 0 camber or through -3. What, like the little things, and then it goes. Like nothing more than that. And so my cars are ready to hit any track. I just need tires, and then I'm traveling wherever. I have a buddy I typically tag him in most of my Instagram content, but it's Hobby Talk RC. We're literally just alike, except he stopped posting videos. But he lives in Washington, and he went to the Expo, Hobby Expo?
Yeah.
I was literally living through his lens while he was drifting, technically with you guys. And so like he visited Tennessee for work. His Shark was built, and I let him hold my Aeromax setup stage, and he was like, dude, this is awesome. I see why you are so like locked into some of this stuff. Like that solidified a lot of stuff. Going to a track again. And now here's somebody who's around drifting almost like anytime he wants to. And then his car doing what it does. Yeah, he was throwing a backy on one of my videos, and it's like, okay, so I actually do have some, like, things actually work. It's not just me being crazy.
So Bao has a suggestion. Do a comp, Josh, and make a video about it.
Oh, yeah. That's the plan. That's the event.
Dude, let's do one step even more like outside the box here. But what if we did a creators comp? So anyone with a YouTube, anyone with like an Instagram, anything like that, those would be the people who we'd invite. And then do a competition like that. It'd be a whole bunch of random people. Because think, we'd do like Josh with Harley Designs on there too. That'd be funny.
Yeah, a bunch of people who like, you literally think that RC drift is like top tier, but it's really just the most interesting, like awesome. Like you can dive so deep into it, but not everybody's on the same level driving. Not everybody knows what the heck's going on.
Yeah.
Some people just have really nice cars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, DJ has a nice Golem.
Hey, what you saying?
You have a nice Golem.
It
Oh,
is. It's pretty nice.
it's-
Just sits there.
Adriano, yeah, what's your favorite track surface?
So I'll be honest with you. My favorite track surface, it should be pretty predictable, but it's any surface I can get on.
Thank you for saying that. Like, I live by the saying of, or the idea that just go and do what you need to, like wherever you're at. Don't be so, like, closed-minded to, like, P-tile is the only thing. Like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we ask each other that all the time, but ultimately it doesn't really matter.
Well, one of my big things is I have the car behind the laptop right now, but it's on LF5C.
Hmm.
And, you know, the DS racing tires. I'm looking at the chart like, okay, what's the hardest tire I can get to try and replicate what everybody else might be feeling on these smooth surfaces in my garage, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then here I go, and this is why I say it's any surface I can get on. I haven't been in a top like level situation in over a year where you're. Let me not say it that way. There hasn't been a spec tire that's one tire in the past 2.5 years. So I can't trust the next guy that I'm tandeming next to be on the same tire as me anytime. So all the time I'm trying to be on a harder tire to feel like, okay, I'm getting practice. I am actually, my car is not lying to me, and it's the grip level, you know, because at the end of the day, I'm on a polished surface, I'm on a carpet. Then other times I'm in somebody's garage and it's brushed concrete or whatever that's called.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, well, some of these surfaces are way too grippy. How do I keep my skill level up? Because yeah, it's sometimes I was like, oh man, that was a great day. Oh shoot, let me ask the guy I was tandeming what tires he was on. Come to find out they're on like 2 levels of softness. You know, it's way softer than mine. I'm like, oh, so we were keeping up because of so and so. Yeah. See the rabbit hole I can go down?
Yep.
Yeah.
I think too, like, if you can drive on different surfaces, it's better for you as a driver. Like if you're only driving on one surface, that's fine. In some cases, that's your only choice. But the different grip levels teach you different skills, I think, for sure.
Characteristics, yeah.
Like for me, a slower surface is going to teach you, you're going to learn your throttle control a lot better. And then like the faster surfaces, just because the car is going to react and rotate faster, that's going to help more with steering stuff. So,
yep.
And both of those together, doing them both, it just only improves your end result, right?
Yep.
Okay, we got 4 more questions from Josh, you guys. So let's get through these, and then I do want to try to focus on the chassis too, because there's a ton of pictures that Josh posted.
Yeah,
and we'll need some time to get through those.
I gotta say, I like the idea of the guest providing the questions. That's a lot easier.
You know, I asked that to most of the guests.
I know.
Okay.
The answer is usually, oh, you know, I don't know.
Thanks, Bob. Yeah, you have a good one.
Later, Bob.
It's always so hard to catch a show because like it's in the middle of work for me. So, okay. Question number 2: is the YD2 still relevant? What makes the newer models RDX, ST3, RD2 better, other than a newer release date, price point, plastics, suspension geometry, and gearbox? And I think I already kind of touched bases on it like earlier, meaning just box stock kit for me, kit or box tune, like because those have come so far that there's not a lot of thinking that you really need to do. Like you just need to be able to build the car.
That's my question for this is what what iteration of YD2 are we talking? Are we talking ZZX? Or are we talking?
Are we talking about the
way
4
back?
gear Z, or are we
Are
talking
we
about the
talking
3 gear Z?
original first Z, or I mean YD2?
I would pull up because the first one I saw was the SX. Like that, I don't. If you tell me ZZX and all of those, I think I just recently put one up for sale and got it sold in the state here. It was a wrap up next conversion, ZX rear, RDX front, and so I saw that gearbox and I was like, I'm like this because I've never seen something older.
Yeah.
But also, my mind just started thinking like, oh, you started flipping the motor out and stuff. I'm like, yeah, here we go. We're back to RDX.
Yeah. So I think Steve Fujita, it was either Steve or Joey, right? They did an article, and this was like a while back, but it was just the different variations of the YD2. And even at that time, there was already like 15 different iterations of the YD2.
There's a bunch. But my perspective on this is just that, like, for me, I think it's definitely still relevant because still so many chassis are like based on that design and that purpose. So, like, even though you may not see too many people driving like S's or S Plus or whatever, EX, whatever, like people are still driving cars that are entirely based on the YD2.
Yep.
So, as long as that's the case, it's definitely relevant.
Yeah,
100%.
I think the overarching relevant factor for it staying relevant is, like you said, it's all the stuff is based off of it, but it's so much cheaper now. Like, what? The full plastic, fantastic, whatever you want to call it. You just go RD1. Like, wasn't it a ZX, right?
Yeah.
The RD1 is a Z. Yeah.
And the price of it, it's not, it just, everything dropped as far as price, but the kit specs and what tune is on it is far better. So it's like, yeah, always relevant.
And the small little like creature comforts, right? Because there is the longest time that if you if you got a SX build, right? So aluminum big bore shocks came with it. It would always have the body. It would have like the blue fluorine bladders, and then or not fluorine, but the blue transparent bladders, and then like the 4-hole pistons, right? Now I think they're coming with black bladders, black clearish or transparent bladders, blue O-rings or cream O-rings, one of the two, and then a different set of pistons in it that are very good out of the box from that setup. So it used to be like, have you drilled your pistons, to now we're to a good shock setup and good feel. Geometry is always improving, and geometry is always like personal taste too.
Yeah. I've never built an RDX, by the way. So Logan, I'm kind of in your boat, but I bought and modified secondhand of 2 of them. I did not know at all what stock is, like settings, but I think my first one was completely stock, just built box stock by a guy in town. And when I turned it to the left with full lock, I was like, wow, like how is that straight out of the box? Like that's something
they're crazy out of the box. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, but then we had the RD2 release, right? And then it was like RDX versus RD 2.0, both are great chassis. RD 2.0 has a little bit of a lead advantage in terms of growability, right? Without investing in
having to buy anything else. Absolutely. That's undeniable.
So it's just there's a half a year gap in between those two chassis or something.
It's not that long yet.
Yeah. Evolution. Marcos, that's one thing I wish somebody would dive into very deeply is shocks and oil. I personally don't feel much of a difference rather than just spring tube. go. There's plenty of videos out there. Crap, it's the wrap up guy. Forget what the channel is. What his name is. He does a great in-depth video. He tells you like how to shim your little cartridge in the bottom of the shock so that you're maintaining pressure and all that. Like how your shock should rebound if you're just holding the shock body and you close it with your thumb and you just press it in. Yeah, it goes so deep. Yeah, thanks Street Junkie, Kembro channel. Awesome video on dampers. And it even goes into the amount of like rebound that you can build into dampers and how you fix rebound if your dampers are slightly different, right? Like for example, Josh, did you know that turning the top cap can change your damper or your rebound rate so that you can match?
So yes, but I never like made it as it was an actual thing to do.
Right.
I just hated that. I was always paying attention, like, don't turn it too much, don't turn it too much. And then out of nowhere, here goes all the rebound. And I'm like, I didn't want to do that. So yes, I know, but I wasn't trying to.
Yeah. And like the whole thing about the Japanese videos is that, yeah, it's a homework task to be able to like take it and just sit there and read the subtitles, right? That was part of the reason why I released the Akivance Futaba. Because I think prior to my video, there was like one guy in Hawaii that put out like an English speaking video. And then everything else was Japanese.
Yeah. Shocks are, to me, they're so complicated because I have a video I just did with the MST here. The manual will tell you to the T how to build these shocks. And in the back of your head, you're like, okay, just follow the manual. But then your oil is leaking and you don't know why, and you didn't realize, okay, do this step beforehand. And then everybody's got their way of doing it, right? But when you keep it simple, even that phrase itself is like, what is that? So learning everything about shocks seems to be the only way to try and like hone in on what you like and what needs to be done. Because I'm pretty sure we all could sit here and not say a word to each other, build some shocks, and somebody could point out that we all did something different.
Yep.
But we're all stress-free about it. You know what I'm saying?
But you know what? Logan and I have UC dampers. So the way that we'll build dampers is almost foolproof.
Yeah, true. That's why I like those.
So yeah, well, I'm with you. UC
Takes
is
all the guesswork out.
Okay. UC is a choice. I wouldn't say it's the way, right? Because I still have other chassis, like my Golem, my Yogi, my Kaiju.
It's definitely the way for me. For how complicated and how many things you can change with shocks, for me,
that makes it dumb.
Especially at most of the tracks that we're driving at. Well, it's not fair to say this. A lot of people drive outside and stuff. There's bumpy tracks. But a lot of the tracks that people are driving that have P-tile and are perfectly smooth, you can waste a lot of time, I think, stressing about what oil and what spring you're running. Because the return on investment in that just isn't really there. Now, if you have a bumpy track or something like that, or you're outside, then by all means go to town. But yeah, for me, it's relatively smooth track. Our new track's kind of bumpy, but I don't find the need to worry too much about exactly what spring rate or oil I'm using.
Adriano. Facts. But I don't have $200 to spend on dampers.
Thank you. I agree. The nerds, I've stayed away from them because I simply can't put that money into the investment that I won't get a return on.
Speaking of which, Adriano, you want to be on the show? You'd be good. Hit me up.
Yeah, we need to start booking again, I realize.
Yeah. Oh, hey, if you're here, if you're listening, there is no stream next week for obvious reasons. I'm busy, and I hope everybody else is spending time doing other cool things probably not blowing themselves up, preferably. But if that's involved, then at least make it cool. Make a video. Do something cool. Hardest in RC, for someone who's had the DC-10 and an MST 2.5C with a ball diff, how can I get my DC-10 to roll and match the smoothness and freeability of my MST? I'm not happy with my DC-10 yet.
Is that a gear diff?
It's a gear diff. It's also a plastic casing too. From my experience, building any gearbox with plastic, make sure like you go screw by screw, honestly, and you make sure that it's free spinning in every single spot. Because, for example, YD2Z, right? The original gearbox, when you put a CLSD in it, it didn't fit. Even without those paper shims in it, it didn't fit, and you would wear down spots.
Make sure that the diff isn't rubbing on anything in the inside the transmission case.
Mm. And I know
also, don't run the lowest oil or no oil in that gear diff too.
Yeah, or put a Yokomo gear diff in it.
Yeah.
And
if you're wanting a really open, free spinning diff, then low to no oil. Like I mean low weight and low as in not a lot.
You can also try one trick if you want a free spinning gear diff is 2 gears and take the outdrive O-rings out. A little bit of lubrication, that's all you need. That's if you want.
Yeah, so that'll get the wheels spinning, and then the gear. Yeah, you wouldn't even care about what the gears are doing that much yet.
Okay, DJ, you doing okay?
Yeah, I'm. I don't know. Just installed the new front knuckles on this chassis, and now I'm kind of just doing front end alignment. We all know how that goes. It's gonna take forever.
Speaking of builds, Shredcraft is doing a FMX build on his channel and doing some really cool stuff with that. So if you haven't seen it, go check it out. I don't know if he's watching. I didn't see him in chat yet. C-Note, switch outdrive O-rings to blue O-rings, much less resistance.
I've never thought to do that.
Isn't it funny? Like, hey, you just talk to people and you find out so much information. That's why, like, never ever feel scared to like ask a question, no matter how dumb it is, unless the people that you're talking to are like just that type of people where they don't want to answer questions. Luckily, we don't have this type of people, at least very many. Hey, Sean, what's up?
What up, Sean?
Hey, let's see. You need to step up your Labubu game and put one in your chassis, hanging the head out. Did anyone else see that video?
No.
No.
There's a Labubu with
what is that?
Oh no.
Oh,
the
troll. Oh man.
We'll stop there.
Oh, yeah. I don't even want to answer it.
It's like the Furby of this generation.
There we go.
Oh.
When you go to the shoe sneaker store, just ask for the Travis Scotts. They got you.
Yeah.
I think I'm good.
They are doing a one
Those
piece.
Look like Teletubbies. Whatever happened to Teletubbies, dude?
Yeah. I like Labubus are cool. I wouldn't ever own one, but hey, people do people. People make choices. Hey, Sean Lewis is also on like doing really, really cool things with paintball. So if you're into that, go check that out. Let's see. Marcos, one good investment I just did for the first time is suspension mounts. Makes a difference. It's a little overwhelming if you don't understand it or haven't tried it, but I highly suggest it.
Yep. I am big on that one. Oh man, you can kind of make your cars feel identical to each other with choosing certain suspension mounts. I surprisingly, when I went down that path, why Rev D and Yokomo decided to not speak the same language with that really frustrated me. I was like, why are we choosing yet letters and then the other one's choosing number? I'm like, what are we And then I finally got it, and I was like, oh, okay. And then, the pills inside of this. So yeah, after I got past that, I started finding like, oh, I like, shorter ones with the longer arms, obviously because of weight shift, right? Long arms and, geometry and everything like that. But yeah, that is the way cars handle. Oh my gosh, I was blown away when I switched back to a non like weight shift, like trying to do all this crazy stuff. Made those suspension mounts longer. Even when TK set up with a number 7, or number 8, and like how planted the car feels, even when you're like just gunning it and stuff, it's crazy what suspension mounts can do.
Hardison, can you be a little bit more descriptive? Can you explain more on the pulling the gear out of that transmission? Not sure I understand that one. I'm not sure I understand.
Like, take the I don't know how the case works, but it does have a cap like a YD2, and you just take off the.
Yeah, it's a 3-piece.
So believe. You can take the diff out the back or whatever.
Yeah, DJ, do a tail whip.
Do a tail whip? I don't even have a thing that can do a tail whip.
It's right in your background.
Shoot! Oh gosh, I just put 2 and 2 together.
But if you just take off the diff cover and make sure that the diff isn't rubbing on any part of the transmission case.
Yeah, that's
it. Make sure it spins freely in there.
Yeah, it shouldn't have any sort of resistance. It should be able to free spin, like if you just spin, like the spur gear or anything like that, right?
DJ, do a tail whip.
There is.
If you guys want to see a tail whip, go to cheddar_rides_bikes and just keep scrolling.
Roll away.
There's a tail whip in there
somewhere.
You need to get a finger bike, dude.
I'm waiting for them to make the actual legit ones. I've been keeping on seeing some like, what do they call them? Little teasers. Keep dropping them in there after they made those finger scooters.
Finger scooters, jeez.
Yeah, it's
finger scoot.
Oh, Calvin, have you guys seen the scooter?
Yeah, there's a legit scooter. They're sick.
Yeah, that was a drifter turned like shut all drifting down and was like, I'm going full scooter, like, and started making them. I saw that happen and I was like, sick.
Okay, we need to get burning on these other 3 questions here. Conversion chassis, what do you look for in them? What changes are most sought after over the stock platform?
So for me, definitely, I wasn't really ready to answer the question. I just wanted to hear what all the other people were doing and, like why. But I seriously appreciate a good layout change. Like, just give me a layout change. You could keep same gearbox, same but oh snap, you scooted the steering forward like, I don't know, 2 millimeters, or the servos all in the back, or suspension mounts, shoved this much forward and that was back. The axle is now looking like this going it. I like layout change, and that's because, of course, when I see these chassis, I'm looking at YD2, MST, RDX, and I'm like, I could buy one and get a layout change, but a conversion chassis to change my MST to be a RDX, like, that would be cool,
Yeah, I mean, that's the biggest thing, right? Is you're looking to take a chassis that you have and put it into a layout format that you want that is different from that, right?
Yep.
So, like, for myself, I like chassis that are lighter, chassis that at first, when I was first getting into it, like things that made it more adjustable. So like you can move the battery around or whatever, stuff like that. I like chassis that have adjustable wheelbase because, different bodies are different lengths. And
and yet you drive an MD2.
Well, my chassis is an adjustable wheelbase.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway.
but like a lot. And yeah, just that stuff really. I mean, you find something that's a stiffness you like or a weight that you like or whatever it is.
Yeah, I personally, and I have to shout out. Oh man, there's so many people I'd be shouting out. Who cares about me? I love the whole community. But like Bingo RC Designs, when that first came out, I was looking at it like, who cares about Hexagon? Like I literally said, who cares about Hexagon? And then I started catching on, and I'm like, wait a minute, wait. And I looked at them more and more, and I was like, yo, this is actually like doing things that I need. Like this is what I like. Battery up high or in different positions on the same chassis. So like you can move it wherever. And then pretty much outside of that, you got a certain flex level. And then of course you're making an all wheelbase 1-2. I'm like, now this is I don't have to look anywhere else anymore. This is it for me. I'm good. And you know, depending on what car it was, like you could put that same battery up high or put it low, shove it back, go forward, turn it, you know, whichever way I want it. And yeah, so that's been really great. I think I've bingo swapped 3 cars now. And it's close. It's not and that's not knocking anybody else. I've been down a pre-order lane that I didn't like. So I just don't prefer to do it that way anymore because of that one instance. And nobody else is to blame but the one instance. So nobody's getting shunned or something. I don't want people to think I don't like pre-orders.
Yeah.
Everybody. It's just that one time.
So there's a few comments here. Street Junkie says, I think conversion chassis are best when you have the random parts laying around from other builds. And then Wayne Johnson, but it never saves any money to convert something you already have, or you have already. So get this, right? So I started out with a YD2 Plus, or sorry, not a, wow. A GALM V2 Plus, right? I got a Razor conversion for the Yogi. So GALM rear end with a DDSS front end or whatever YD2 front end, right? So I got that. I made the conversion and ended up having basically another full chassis of parts. So therefore, I continue to make another almost similar chassis. So I have one high motor and one low motor. Yeah, spare parts builds are dangerous because what happens is that like you think you have all the parts and all the bits, but you don't have like all the small tiny hardware, like any of the pillow, the suspension pin bushings, or like the tie rods, or like just like the small little bits, right? And all of that stuff adds up, like, and by the time that you get there, you're already at like a YD2 like plus, or like some plastic version of YD2, right?
Yep, I completely agree. I am building a secret chassis that I cannot say much about right now, and it's based off an RDX. And I was like, I'm going to buy every part I need so there's no confusion on what's needed to convert to it, you know, this chassis. I'm like, bro, I should have just bought the kit.
As far as conversions goes, technically the Shark is cheaper to start from scratch than to get a final form. And dare I say it, I think like Rev D build of the Shark is way better than final form.
I think Josh is the type of guy to me to have, you know, to just be bored one Sunday or Saturday and realize, you know, I got all these parts in this box over here. What can we make out of that?
Oh yeah,
we've seen it on the stream before, and we'll definitely take another look at it. But if you're in Discord, yeah, we'll be there pretty soon here. Okay. So, questions 4. What tires? James Dean Mustang is running aero discs. Form over function. What's the best brand wheels? Honestly, I don't think there's an answer for best brand of wheels.
No.
And form over function, I haven't gotten the chance to try like aero discs for myself yet, but there is apparently something to it.
Yeah, we've had people on here saying that they feel a difference. So
Miko, Tell us what's up.
Yeah. One thing because I just got. I mean, I'm a big like, don't buy it right now. Dude. Wait till the hype dies down. Don't jump in. Stop. Don't do it. And then like I've hit buy when the hype was hot, and and you get it, and you're just like, yeah, I got it. And then you're just like, all right, it's in my hands. Okay, but you start seeing the high flex wheels, and I'm like, whoa, there might be something to this. And then over time I'm like, wait, but there's a tire's harder than the wheel. And then my mind starts going again, like, what are we doing? How do I figure this out? And I can't test it. You can't test stuff like that. Like, so the marketing and everything else, and of course everybody who runs them, in competition. So it's big. I feel like there is some truth to it, but at the same time, I'm still trying to look a little cool while I'm going around the track.
We woke Miko up.
Miko, what's up with the hype behind the aero discs? From what I remember, what Kevin was saying is that basically the overall gist, like the feeling of it, is that like you can throw the car as hard as you want, and you won't spin, like you won't over rotate, and you'll still be locked into that.
Right, Miko. Aero discs.
Not to mention
style only or performance too.
That the Rev D ones are 24 millimeters, right? So there's that difference too. So they don't protrude past the wheel.
Yes.
100%. They don't protrude past the wheel, so you don't get like a locking function between the ball stud or the ball end and the wheel. So that's kind of cool too.
Oh, so they're actually the right size, you mean?
No, they're smaller.
The wheels are smaller than the tires?
Yeah, in width.
I like that. That's good, because all the wheels are freaking wider. It's like, why?
Yeah. There's
some like that lip.
I have to say, one of the marketing things that will get me every time is not needing a tire mounting system to put a tire on a wheel. Like, you can market that wheel to me every day, and I buy that set because I'm like, and I don't have that the screw tire mount.
Yeah,
the air racing.
I gave up all that stuff. I went with my Integras, and I use O-rings, no tape, and I don't ever mess with that. I'm with you. I don't like using those tools or go in a battle every time you need to switch tires.
Well, call me bad, but I have my own built-in press. It's called my foot.
Well, getting them off is hard enough.
That's the part I hate, getting them off.
I have piano hands. I've got, O-rings try O-ring to mount wheel gang, Logan.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Dow, you too. You need to, you're being recruited. So, we'll talk to you soon.
Get down on the pod. Wang, we use I think Scale Reflex sells them, but it's just the O-ring that is close in diameter to the wheel.
Just right.
And then, you just put that on the wheel, and then you don't need foam.
Oh, Sino, foam and O-ring gang.
That's crazy. That's so crazy.
O-ring gang.
I used to do that for a little bit.
I think the reason why for the foam and O-ring, please let me know in the chat. But I watched one video and somebody was like, yeah, they sound different.
Yeah.
Without foam.
The sound is definitely different without foam, for sure.
You know what's different? MST wheels.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Okay, let's make it a poll. Foam versus O-ring. Ready, set, go.
Yeah.
Okay, so that'll sit. That'll do. Wait, what? Okay. Oh, O-ring gang. Okay. While we're doing that, let's go on to the last question. If you could only own one chassis, what would it be and why? It has to be a kit build, not a conversion with parts you have to source.
That's tough.
That's tough for me. I think I would be on the ST3 bandwagon there.
Yeah. Are we allowed to modify it after the fact, or we just have to drive the chassis raw?
Oh, you can do whatever you want after, but it's like that kit that
Yeah.
you mean you call it that kit every time you drive it. Like,
Yeah, it's SD3 for me for sure.
Yeah. Or maybe GRK5?
Nope.
Maybe.
I'm going RDX.
Yeah.
Yeah, the front end, it's the front end. Yeah, it's, oh my gosh, god awful simple. And then for anybody that wants a conspiracy theory over here, I have had bad servos, like doing way too much, too fast or doing some weird stuff. So I was able to like crank down the screw for this wiper and it stopped vibrating because it was more resistance. And I can never do that like with a slide rack. Of course, DDS you can't. So I was like, once that RDX happened, and I was able to get one. So yeah, and that because it's plastic, and I can drill into that without risking.
You can drill into carbon fiber. I don't know what you're talking about. It's been done. I've done it a lot. Like,
yeah, the carbon fiber. I remember the first time I asked somebody, "Yo, you ever drilled into it?" It was like, yeah, mask up, this, that, vacuum right beside the thing. I'm over here like, yo, sorry, man. I'm not trying to die. Like, what is... So, yeah.
Not wrong, though. Like,
Yeah, you don't want to be breathing that stuff in. It's bad for you. Really bad for you.
DJ, answer.
Yes.
Oh, we already
Well,
Gone
We already
life.
well, I thought it has to be a kit form. Well, I guess they are kits, but not a final form golem. I don't know.
Wait.
I enjoyed.
Is it final form golem or is it full option golem? I think it's full option golem.
Yeah,
know.
so,
Kit for that?
Whatever we want to call it. To each their own. Potato.
Battle.
You know.
no, because with the full option, you got that it's the hex to the you can screw into your wheel instead of there being a nut with how like there's
Yeah,
that's
I
like
got those.
oh man. Yeah, that's the golem stuff. I was like really wild out. I was like,
Is that a kit though?
That's not
No,
part
I
of the
mean-
kit.
Yeah, it's not part of the kit, but you
Yeah.
got golem is a kit. So
So you're saying Golem? DJ?
Me?
Yeah.
I mean, I thought the question was being like stating that you couldn't really change the kit.
You can
That's what I
change, you can change anything after, but if you could only drive with one kit, it has to be a kit. What would you start with for the rest of your life? You can only have one car.
Oh shoot. Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Yeah, the golem
Alright.
front axles. Yeah, there you go.
Well, there you go.
Well, there we go.
I mean,
Okay.
that's a good mix, right? So what is it? Logan, you said SD3. Adam, you
Yep.
said SD3?
SD3 or GRK5R.
Oh, so we touched everybody then. Well, mostly everybody. Yokomo, Shibata, I went Rev D, and you went OD. Okay. Oh, there we go.
To each their own.
You're right.
Yeah, you guys are allowed to be wrong. It's okay.
Oh. Hey now.
Yeah, I thought for sure, Dow, that DJ would say an MST something or other, but
Rip.
rip. Old news.
Yeah, guys, that's like so 2022 for me. God.
Okay, switching gears here. I'm preloading some pictures, ready to go. So we've seen this on chassis or on stream before, and I'm just working to get this pulled up here. Okay, are you ready to do a lot of explaining, Josh?
Oh, of course.
Here we go.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. So this is the RF01 by Total Shop Toge, as I've been told to pronounce. But this is basically the CC01, and obviously you can't buy that anymore, and you couldn't drift it out of the box. So this is like drift out of the box, for the sub $500, but not like there's not a set price because of how he sources the parts. But yeah, solid axle rear, direct drive front, motor in the center or middle of the chassis.
It's a McPherson setup.
Yeah,
And
McPherson setup too.
CC01 is a crawler, you guys. It's a Tamiya crawler. Let's start there.
Yeah, so this one's a wild one, but when
that's crazy.
when I call it TST. So when Total Shop Toge basically started marketing this kit, I was like, what? Because I've always been like trying to figure out like what is people doing? Why are they so, what is up with the CC01? And then you take it to the, what is that other one? I have forgotten about so many chassis once I bought this chassis, like nothing is on my radar anymore. But I think the other one is people are trying to sell this thing for $1,000 or they sell it for more than that. I cannot remember what it is right now. Rajamani something. I can't remember what it is.
Yeah,
what is the sound?
I got it right there. Panda Apex.
Busaroku. Yeah. And nothing. Yeah. So this being where attainable and not triple the price, I was like, cool. Let me snag that. So Watts link, solid axle, all of what you see comes in the kit except the electronics, even shocks. But I put my own dampers on there because it was some basics, but I always have something else. But yeah, simple, like what people tend to call it LP86 electronics, quick run ESC, the quick run motor, and good. And from this chassis helped me learn there's no lever ratio in the front for your suspension. So super soft springs, super soft, and it still sits off the ground and you have to it will bounce. But yeah, that setup is carbon fiber standoffs, threaded standoffs, 3D printed parts, and go drift. And those are the wheels from the same company. They zero offset in the rear, 3D printed, and then 6 mil offset in the front.
How did that hold up?
Oh, those hold up great. I'll be honest, because
Crazy.
we know Scale Dynamics has not released this TE37V yet, re-release, whatever. So I've been sitting here I'll just take these, and yeah, car's epic, and it was meant to be a crawler, so I just kind of went with the whole thing, and I went black because I was like, I ain't gonna do body lines, I ain't gonna do all this extra stuff. So that fits, it doesn't change, and it drifts perfectly fine. Obviously, because it's a straight axle, so no issues getting grip at all.
Our buddy Chris is asking, if you don't mind, how much all in for this setup that you have right here?
$30 servo from my local hobby shop. ESC and motor combo $90. So we're at $120. Wheels were $30, I think. So $150 plus the kit, $450. So $600, and I'm missing, what is that? The gyro. So the gyro is $40 because it's an AGF RC version 3.5. So $650, less than $700.
There you go. He's also asking, have you driven an LP86 and how does it compare? I think these would be two different beasts completely.
Yeah, I don't have a urge to drive an LP86 because the body leans separate from what the chassis is doing, and I'm just not in that mindset right now. That's not how I'm thinking. So watching other people drive it is pretty cool, but come on, you're asking a guy who literally made a car lean through suspension, and it just never went that way for me. Plus
Okay.
There's nothing wrong with them. It's just there was supposed to be a whole class thing, and at the time it didn't happen when I was really hyped about it. So kind of let it
go. It is what it is. All right, moving on.
This one is a D6 with a Bingo Wasp, Bingo RC Designs conversion on it. This one, this was the first Bingo RC Designs conversion I got, and this one solved a big issue. The D6 GA carbon fiber, you screw in the ball studs for the suspension arms, and it was tight. It would bind and all of that. Kind of like, it's set up like MD1 with the ball arms.
Mhm.
And so with the Bingo Wasp, with the Bingo RC Designs chassis deck, it has elongated holes. So like if it was binding, you could like slide the ball stud just a little bit, and then it would allow the arms to flap up and down freely. So that's what brought me to it. And then of course I tried to weight shift this thing just a little bit. Didn't work. Battery's high, but ball stud suspension just doesn't ball stud arms mounts doesn't like that a lot. So yeah, but it's in blue. It's matching what would be the blue carbon fiber from 3 Racing, but Bingo is like next level when it comes to their colors. I was like really blown away.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And you chose to do belt drive on this. Any particular reason?
Well, I chose belt drive because I wanted I don't want to say this the wrong way. I didn't know anything about 3 Racing or Sakura before this. Only through Troy from Roadside RC was D5. And so I chose belt drive because number one, it was the OG, like, what came out first for D6. And then I wasn't sure whether or not anything else would work with what's coming out later, the monoshock setup that's going to come. So I was like, I'm gonna just get this because it looks like it's supposed to work with the new.
Are we looking at Velcro tire treads?
Yes. I'm glad you caught on.
Is that a
we
thing?
are. No, that's for when I'm drifting in the house and it needs to be quiet, and I don't want my wife to be mad at me.
That's pretty smart. I'm gonna have to try that.
Yeah, it's funny.
Does it work?
Telling you, yeah, it does. The fronts though,
Yeah.
that's a little too pushy. It makes the car push, but yeah, crazy. That thing went a million views on Instagram, and I'm like, I was just showing how does it, and then here it is. Everyone's like, oh my gosh, smart. Yeah, I should try that. And then of course I'm doing it because I have a car in my garage and I still want to drift. So
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, 3 Racing is, they get a bad rap for the tolerance issues and whatnot, and just kind of the random things. But outside of that, they're not bad, right?
I'm sure these are fine. I've never driven one, but
well, I do have a picture of the Ackerman, I believe. Yeah. Obviously, you see the right is in more, right?
That's an issue.
Yeah, and I've been on a quest to fix that. But the issue is, for me, personally, the caster adjustment from the factory is not what's in the manual. You can't adjust it the 6 or 7 degrees it says you can back and forth. You can only do like 2 degrees. And I'm not drilling out anything. So that's what I really wanted to point out. I think that's the only flaw in the kit. It doesn't give you the caster adjustment you think you get, it can't. So word on the street, the ARPA D6 is going to be insanely better. So that's why it's taking a while for it to come out. Yeah.
Now, when the Opera D4 came out, like, the feeling was they just had every single idea that you could do to a chassis, and let's put it on the chassis just because. So that thing, like, it had, front monoshock, and the rear set had, like, let's see, 2 standard shocks, a top sway shock in the middle, and then, shocks on the side, like, that acted as your camber links. Like, all sorts of weird stuff going on.
Yeah, I remember seeing that. and I'm glad I wasn't around for that in the hobby because that would have did me in.
It's like, what are all these for? And you just get over like it. Yeah, I would just end up taking stuff off, to be honest.
So this is the ABC hobby body that literally no one can acquire anymore. I don't think it's even possible. They're not making it. Whatever, list goes on, and it's 190 millimeter, so that's why it looks like a monster truck right now. But quite the body. I'm staring at it right now, and ABC hobby quality is top notch. It's very scaled to me, but yeah, I've always wanted that body. I'm a big Nissan guy. Obviously, I own the Infinity, which is in sheep's clothing, a Nissan, and so yeah, this body's just still sitting here waiting to be drifted again, but it's super long. Just want to point that out. It is a long body.
190. You could get down to that pretty easily. 190 wide.
I'm gonna try.
You'll get there.
All right, okay, I believe you. I think I'm still stock on that track width and all that. The wheels too. Yeah, it's still D6 wheels.
Okay. Preloading.
Oh, you pulling them in? Okay.
Okay.
So this guy, you can see I purposely put it there. There's a big chrome weight in the windshield there.
Yeah.
That's 200 grams of weight right there. So the car could look slammed on the ground when I took the picture.
Nope. Just for the picture. That's it.
For the picture. But that goes to show the shocks can still get all the way to the ground, even with how high it gets up off, with the suspension travel. So, yeah, that body's a OD JZX 80 or 90. Really easy to mount and get the right settings on. I think the last time with the other weight shift, it was the wrong track width. So this one's the right track width, so everything tucks. Mm-hmm. I have a video on Instagram still showing that front wheel just free spinning and rolling along, even when you lean it, because it's just perfectly tucked in. Yeah, you can see the flares don't even scratch. There's no paint like rubbing off. Wild to me, but it worked out. Window shopping and paying attention to all the specs.
These are the MST adjustables?
Right, they are. The white, you can use tape and it'll stay. Like, you don't have to glue those. I feel like all the other colors, it's too much work to try and keep them on the same width, as I say.
I'll stand on my horse and stick with one-piece wheels.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's why I still got them. They just always sit around, but they work for this car.
So, you know how we say, what, Flex Friday on crawlers? Yeah.
Yeah.
We do this all day long.
So I think the first car I did this on was the TDP because of the front end having that bearing.
Mm-hmm.
You could rotate it crazy amounts. But then on the weight shift journey, the suspension travel and all of that, I started doing it on a lot of other cars too. And it just kind of stuck with me. But yeah, that's all the travel right there. Like, the car can lift as high as you want if you put the right tires on it and all that. Hey, there we go.
What's going on?
So I don't have a like legit hobby shop that has all these things I need. So I have to figure out sometimes before I buy things what I can use to make it work, because I'm not about to just buy the wrong thing. So those are the Yokomo shock, What is it? It's not 4.8. Whatever the size is for the top cap on the Yokomo big bores, and I use it as a standoff to make the shock longer, and then all this other stuff, basically get the right geometry. And when you look at the whole thing, you're like, dude, why not just get a longer rod in? Well, I didn't have one that would work. It's like super extended. And there's only one for you for some of this stuff to work. And that was it.
Don't worry, I've like some of my stuff is real ghetto. Like
Yeah, we all get things done. You know what I mean?
Right.
and if
right.
it works, it works. No question about it. You've got some D-like stuff going on here, huh?
Yeah. So stock dampers with the stock Yokomo oil in it, whatever that weight is, 20 weight or whatever. And these red springs, D-like, of course, and they're just able to crush really small. Like the top ones, you can see they can't get really short. So they're too soft, and I added the red ones to kind of allow everything to stay at the right rod height. Gosh, and when I'm driving this stuff, it's so simple to me to explain it, but in this case, you can basically have the car sit at ride height and drive. You don't have to worry about it scraping on the ground every time you drive it. But without those red springs, you have to crank the adjustment collars all the way down, and it'll still drop all the way to the ground. It's just something about those red springs. They've been on the other car too.
I feel like the helper springs are the stock springs.
Yeah.
Like it's backwards.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you notice, there was what's in the middle? Oh yeah, there's a Tamiya right there, the spring collars in the middle. Those are some Tamiya purchase. It's wild. They just worked. I don't even know where I got them from, but I just have them.
Okay. What is wrapped around your servo lead?
So that's the same $25 servo with non-black wires. It's the orange and dark brown.
Oh,
thing.
you were just trying to hide them.
Yeah, so just trying to hide it, have everything all black, and I think it's over here in my little setup. But it's like it's the wire that's kind of cloth-like. I mean, it's the tape that's kind of cloth-like.
Yeah.
I can't remember right now. ACRC LED showed me like one of his wiring jobs on his bodies, and I was blown away because of that tape he used. He uses tape similar to that. It was really clean. Mine just was hiding wires right there.
See, we got a Team AD front bumper.
Yeah. Yeah. The life of the OD front bumper is over for me. I can't do it. I can't keep going back to it. So
I thought you said that this was only 200 grams.
yeah, so that was the 200. Then and I have a 500 one. I have a whole weight set. Sorry, y'all. I fix medical equipment in the military, and so there's this thing called a balance.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you got to use the perfect ones. So I put that on there to clearly prove that it's slammed to the ground, and the bump steer on there is.
That's a lot.
It is. But when you're perfectly straight, there's no bump steer. That's the wild part. So I always say you can't run away from bump steer. It's gonna find you somewhere. And then you don't need fancy knuckles. I would love to always just buy the LTS knuckles, but look, some of these cars that get built, okay? We're not buying them all the time.
Capacitor box.
Yes.
2,000 microfarad.
Yeah, no big Accuvance capacitor for me on this one. I just wanted a cleaner look, and that sure beats the 3 cap, capacitor.
You know what my biggest problem with Accuvance like capacitors are? It's trying to mount them with double-sided sticky tape.
Yeah.
Nothing sticks to the stupid shrink wrap.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Very true. In the wrap world, in the vinyl wrap world, we have adhesion promoter called 3M primer.
Mm-hmm.
and it's literally it's almost like isopropyl alcohol, and you just wipe it onto any surface, and it takes it from like not sticky to sticky, but you don't feel it with your finger. As soon as you can barely touch it with double-sided tape, it's stuck. So that's what I use, because you're right. It's not fun.
There you go. That's a good little tip and trick.
Yeah, send me a link. I might need some.
Yeah, I will. They even got them in little pins, like breakaway pins, and you break it and the liquid comes out of the tip like a paint marker.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Here we go. What's your FDR?
Ooh, what is the FDR right now? That's a 33 and an 80 on a YD2.
Someone do the math.
Someone do the
2.6. Someone pull their 10PX
Where's
or
Adam?
their 7PXR.
Where's Dr. H when you need him?
6 points. Well, that's DIB. What in the world? Why am I on DIB? Stop. 80, 32, 6.5. I can't really see it, but yeah, 6.5.
That's not as low as I would have thought.
Well, the reason why I do 80 is so I can have more room for where I put my camera link. That's the only reason why I run an 80G.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
These are interesting.
This is the KK Pit.
Yeah. So
What's that all about?
I'll tell you this.
Means that.
I just mean the whole chassis. What are those about?
So I'll give you a little inside scoop. All right, like this year, this year I've been really passionate about trying to communicate with the people that make these chassis. So I've actually got, first line communication with the designer and the builder of this kit, and even the community that huddled around it. I owned one before, and then I traded it to get a go-kart for my son. And so this is me jumping back in, but in my way, as a full box build and everything, And the PDK, it's a slide rack and a 3-gear chassis with almost fully adjustable everything and bearings everywhere. There's bearings in the uprights, like the way where they connect to the lower arms in the rear. There's bearings in there.
There's also bearings in the motor plate. Right?
Yeah,
it's a floating thing.
Yes, it's O-rings. You can put one or two, but it tell you to put one. And everything has an option to it. So the upper arms and the lower arms, they're plastic and adjustable, but you can get the aluminum, so it's all adjustable and all, fully, you can get it fully hopped up. And you get it hopped up and you get all the little parts. I still have parts to put on, but like as a kid, how do I say this? There's so much, the tolerance is so tight on all of the stuff, you would get frustrated because like you actually have to put the bearing in straight. You can't have it leaning to the side. It's not a thumb press in on any of this stuff, which is kind of, some people find it frustrating, but once it's built, this thing doesn't do the quirky stuff. I haven't changed a single thing on it. It's the total opposite, like of the weight shift stuff, but it's still like upright shocks. The shocks themselves, oh my gosh. So screw on the pistons so you don't have the E-clips. Your rod ends, the ball ends, they have notches on them so you can cut them if you want shorter, rod ends or shorters, suspension travel overall. The springs, there's like 3 sets of springs that comes with it. You can see in the rear right there on the lower, there's like an adjustable toe just right there. I did that. That's not stock. Normally they'd be pointing out like a buggy. But
okay, I was gonna say, like, I haven't seen it like this before.
Yeah, I'm just upright. I keep it simple. That's just my I'm upright all the time and I tune from there. I'm not a lean guy anymore.
Well,
I found my way and I'm sticking to it.
not the upright part. How the shocks are mounted to the outside of the arm instead of the inside.
Oh yeah. Okay. So I think the only person. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Because Gom did it the other way around. They went from inside to out. Yeah, on those trailing arms, the fully adjustable lower arms. You're right. Yeah, that is true. And that part that part that it's connected to, that's like separate. So you can separate that from the arm.
Mm-hmm.
It's yeah. There's bearings in there too. That's great.
Of course there are.
Hey,
So
Tetsujin, yeah.
yes, it is. That's one of the first bodies I had when I got into the hobby. I had it with the RRX too, and this is my son, so that's why it looks all, a little beat up, a little, questionable. But I built it for him for his birthday 2 years ago. So just kind of run it for now, but I have a body on the way for that chassis.
This is an interesting move. The front uppers are swept back.
Yeah, that's all. There's bearings in there. Just wanted to say that again. But yes, it is interesting. You get camber. You can get camber from twisting the arms, the upper arms, right there. You can adjust that way, or you can change the spacers on there too.
On the upper, yeah.
Right. You change that, and then you got caster there. There's been a few changes that a couple of the guys that they drive these regularly that they've made to theirs to get they say the caster is bad out of the box and things like that.
Okay, so I mean, we talk about how the box stock tunes are just out of this world at this point, right? Well, we have also got to take into account that this is still a hobby and things aren't necessarily perfect for everybody, right? So test, tune, it's a thing. Nothing's gonna be perfect, and the something that completely is off the wall might be the next big thing. Aero discs, right?
Yeah, I agree. This kit, when I built it the first time, I didn't care anything about the designer of the chassis or anything. I was in my own world. So I completely took the shock towers off and was trying to make my own shock towers because I was I want a car that looks like nothing's poking out, no antennas or something. In my own mind. And so I'm doing all this extra tuning, and then here I am now, embracing it as a whole. And then I'm oh well, there's one little tweak I can do. If you look on that arm to the left at the upper, I'm roasting myself here. That's different from the arm on the right.
I noticed that.
So I crashed.
Oh.
I crashed a little hard. I sent it, and yeah, big crash, and lost that. So the stock uppers with the plastic little swept back arm comes with those. So I put that on there.
Nice.
And instead. So yeah, there's that middle piece where the slide rack is. You can't see it. It's literally right behind that KK Pit logo there. There's a screw in there, and I really hope everybody's slide rack can adjust tension like this. You just turn the screw and you can tighten up the slide rack. I was yo, that's awesome. There's no, it's no nut and then move the bearing slide.
Yeah.
It's pull the slide rack closer to the bearings, and that's it.
I mean, what if I told you that was a thing? And then
what?
Cammed bearings.
No, yeah, that's not. I don't think he's talking about that though.
Well,
no, not the cammed bearing.
Yeah.
No,
not cam screws, just a screw that's in line with it that you can just move in and out.
oh, so we're talking about overdose slide rack? aluminum slide rack.
Oh yeah. Exactly like that. Yeah.
A lot easier to deal with.
That
than
so
stupid
the cam
cam
bearings
screws.
was another big Yokomo thing that like everyone was like, "Why is my slide rack so sloppy?" Yeah,
It's
because
still
of
that
those.
way. Like they require constant adjustment. It's super annoying.
Mine didn't. Anyway. Okay. So pretty straightforward stuff. I do like the finish. Like the finish of it is very, very clean.
Yeah, it looks
Yeah.
good.
I I think, and I don't know why I'm so free to just share the prices of this stuff, but like that kit, I think the first when I bought it as a kit from somebody else, I got it for like 200 with no upgrades. Like all the upgrades, fully everything. No electronics, obviously. The kit with all the upgrades, less than 800, somewhere around there, and that's to my door. But like when you start putting this thing together, first I have a video of just ASMR of me showing the package. But bro, like their stuff comes in a box, and then there's a separate box for all the aluminum parts, and they're all like in the foam, really nice. It makes you want to put nice things on it. Like, and I couldn't like just throw stuff on this.
That kind of packaging is like a blessing and a curse, right? Because it's like cool, it looks absolutely fantastic coming out of the box, right? But you have to take every single piece out of the box. Like the original packaging for the CLSD was that, and boy, oh boy, it was so annoying.
I remember that. I did. Yeah, that was frustrating. But that's like 80 pieces. It felt like 80 pieces in a surface area of like 2 inches. Like what? How do I? Yeah, I showed this picture because I don't know how this stuff fits. Like the AccuVance 3, ABC wires. Like
Yeah.
Does everybody just trust that they don't touch? Like I feel like I'm
Yeah.
supposed to put something in there to just make it. Yeah.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
But now you need to do the zip tie trick so that they stay in there when they get loose.
Well, those don't look like they're really gonna go any. They don't have room to go anywhere.
Right.
Yeah. Props to anybody who's doing all of this AccuVance stuff time and time again. I of course had to get it because I was like, it's not about staying relevant. It's about knowing what everybody's talking about when it comes to AccuVance. So I have a full setup, and of course it's smooth. Of course I like it. Like who wouldn't appreciate a full ecosystem that just works? And yeah, so all that's cool. But you wouldn't catch me doing this like car number 2 because I wouldn't appreciate it. All of this wiring in the right way and just like the way it's set up, I'm like, I will be way in over my head on, like a first build or a second build kind of thing.
Hardison, the zip tie trick, it basically entails you get to the point where these bullet connectors get too loose and they just kind of shimmy out, and then all of a sudden you are dead out on the middle of the track and you don't know what's going wrong with your car. So you just throw a zip tie around the connectors and it just holds tight. Doesn't allow
If
it
you're
to move.
if you're using your wires with the bullets in the 90-degree configuration, then you can use a zip tie to hold them into the motor.
Yeah.
Somebody put into the chat, how do I like that steering conversion? Yeah, that's another reason why I put that picture up there. I'm a guy who had it before, not this one, but a different.
This one. I got it. Hold on. Let me put it up. The
Yes,
Kaizen.
I got it on both my remotes now. So right now, and I'm gonna keep referencing Instagram. That video's going crazy, and there's a lot of comments. Sometimes I feel like it's bots, but whatever. There's people like, yo, you can do dual rate or steering expo and all of this stuff, and I'm like, yeah, I've got 4 years of driving on the same kind of wheel. I've tried all of this stuff, and I even tried this type of steering and a different configuration. I think it was Roger Manny too. And I like this because I have a choice on how extreme I can go with how much throw. So like you can go from turning your steering wheel like this and this to now having to turn your steering wheel like that and like that to get full lock to lock.
And don't forget, this is not adjusting the resolution of your radio. This is giving you mechanical advantage of giving you more leverage or like rotation throughout the swing, right?
Yeah.
You still have like 100 to 100 or 120 to 120 as far as like that goes. So you're not cutting down on your radio like at all.
Right. And that was kind of, I thought it was easy to explain, but to some it's, this is maybe 15 years ago, this is all they had. And, we used to do that back in the, I don't know. But being a drifter, and I don't really care to do any other kind of driving right now, or maybe in the next 5 years, like this feels great. I don't twitch that. I don't do the twitch thing. It feels like I'm just enjoying it, like driving. And maybe I'm not flicking as fast as I used to. I don't know, because I've gone to the track a couple of times with this. But the product being adjustable is the key factor here. Like I am not on some like I have to rotate 270 degrees of rotation here. I'm literally like just the next step up. So there's 4 different versions, like all in the same package. Maybe I'll step up to it, but
could you imagine 900 degree, 1080 degree rotation on a radio control wheel?
Too much.
That is way too much.
Way too much.
Yeah. Way too much.
Okay, so we're through your chassis pictures, and we made it through all of them. We're at 921, really. So
yeah, I'm about having to tap out here.
Yeah. Miko posted his.
Yeah, Miko made a huge change.
So I want to point it out, and it's kind of funny, but it's also true at the same time. It's like from the RCO Japan camp, it's like Hayato said, go buy Sanwa, and everybody bought Sanwa. Not a bad I think it's funny that it happened because it works better with RevD, right? According to that kind of analysis. But it's funny how many people have just moved over so effortlessly, to be honest. And honestly, I stand by my comment of if Sanwa fixed their like high learning curve menus, it'd be way more popular. Way more. Like once you know it, and it's fine. But trying to get into it, it's like trying to learn like a new stereo deck in your car, and it's like it takes a while.
Yeah, I've owned both. I mean, clearly, I have an MT44. I'm never getting rid of that thing. I got that transmit. What is it? The receivers. Like, I'm not in a trap of like having to spend 80, 90 on the receivers. It's just not my vibe for all the cars that I have. When you have one car, it's simple. But like the M17, when I had that, I had zero issues. Like, there's nothing I could complain about once I learned it. But the one thing I didn't like is, I think it's with both, right? Futaba and Sanwa. You can't just like look to your left and look to your right and be like, hey, what's the best like setup, or what's this awesome setting that changes the game for you when it comes to the whole ecosystem, right?
Yeah.
So for M17 to be paired with something that it technically has nothing to do with, I think that's the best setup, because when you're top end and you like driving and you like a good radio, you're willing to spend $500, $600, $700 on a radio. The $200 radios aren't it. So,
realistically, it's the cheapest investment that we have, like, because we only buy it once, whereas we're buying multiple ESCs, motors, multiple chassis, all that stuff, right? Like, it's the one investment that you can take wherever in the hobby, and it's gonna work.
Yep.
Anyway, it's that time, you guys. It's past that time, you guys. Hey, Josh, I just want to thank you. Thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah, dude.
It's been fun.
Thanks. A good show.
Hope you had a good time.
Oh yeah, I did. I enjoyed it. It was good to chat it up with some people that I enjoy watching all the time, and of course, it's one thing to see the like YouTube channel like grow, watching subscriber numbers, analytics, or how many people's on the live. But I mean, you take away all the numbers and just put people on the screen. I enjoy it all the time.
Well, I watched your channel before you ever watched me on here, so.
Ah, cool. Well, I appreciate that.
Pleasure's all mine.
Hang out for just a little bit. We always have like an after post show roundup thing that we do, so it's always fun. Just kind of check up. You guys, just a reminder, if you're here, if you're still watching, there's no stream next week. Go have fun, blow yourself up. Don't blow yourself up.
Back up, Terry.
Go have some fun, roast some hot dogs, all that stuff. Keep it safe, and then we will be back. I don't actually know what the status is with the stream on the 10th, because it's supposed to be...
What do you think, River?
Yeah, Peachtree. Because I know that he messaged me and was like, yeah, we don't have a track anymore.
Yeah.
And then I was like,
Still be on.
yeah, we still want to know like the whole like situation right now, because that'd be
Hear
interesting to
what
know.
their plans are. And...
And the plug as usual. You guys, if you ever want to be on the show, just hit us up, hit Logan up, DJ, me. We're always here. For me specifically, message me on Facebook. I check that the most over Instagram. So, Discord, I would like to say that I'm there, but not so much. So,
River's like not there.
He's like, I don't want to be on the show, Dad. I'm not a podcaster.
Reminder, to Drift to Death, August 8th through 10th. If you can make it, we're gonna have a blast. It's gonna be super fun. It'll be great. It'll be great. Any shout outs, Josh?
Oh yeah, definitely want to do the typical, and keep God first. That's how I roll. Definitely want to shout out my wife again, and of course, as my Instagram grows, I know the number gets larger as far as followers and the subscribers and everything, but I still want to thank each and every one of them. It's not necessarily a validation thing. It's just I appreciate all of them, because one view or 1,000 or whatever, 1 million, because I've seen it. It's just a joy to come back every day, put out something drift related, and be able to help somebody. I have conversations with plenty of people all the time. I'm not going to say any names because then I'd have to say all the names. But every DM, every DMer, every subscriber, every follower, and of course, just the drift community as a whole. I'm glad to be here, and I'm glad that I immersed myself in it and found enjoyment out of it. So thank you all.
Thanks for being here. All right, you guys. Be safe. Don't blow yourself up, and have a good evening. Later.
Yeah.